going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a really fun video. As I'm sure you guys have seen by the title, we are filming the entire thing with the Sony ZV-E1. So this is kind of a day in the life of me actually using it as a content creator in various ways. It's going to be a fun video. But before we get anything started, Cherry Limeade is still up there for me. So real quick, I do just want to say, you guys have been showing mad love on all my recent content. YouTube is crushing, Instagram is crushing, honestly TikTok is crushing. I've been putting a lot of effort into TikTok. Shout out to a couple of my buddies, Maddie K, Low, Sedlum. Those guys are all crushing it and they motivate the shit out of me. I feel like my lens is dirty, hang on. So my last vlog, I was really trying to get like this set up for shooting vertical content. I'm really happy with how that turned out. And honestly, I think that's what this Sony ZV-E1 is mostly going to be used for. But obviously I want to try it out for some long form content. But just so you guys know what my camera setup is right now, so you kind of know what we're working with here for this video. So this is what my setup is here, okay? So obviously I have the Sony ZV-E1, the Sony ECM mic on top. Although this camera actually does have a pretty good internal mic, so we'll probably use that some in this video to test out. Right now I have the 16-35 2.8 G Master lens, and then just a Gorilla Pod as I move around my office here. I think what's really good about this camera is that it's so small, and I'll show you guys a side-by-side of the two camera bodies between the FX3, which is honestly not big, versus the Sony ZV-E1, and it is a pretty big difference. But again, I want to test out this camera in all forms so I can kind of review it for you guys and see what this thing can do. And right now I have the 20mm on the FX3. I've honestly been using the 20mm quite a lot on this camera setup, but I figured to vlog, I honestly just prefer a 16 most of the time. The 20 is actually good and you definitely can vlog with it. I just have a pretty small office space here, even though it probably looks large. It's like filming on the 16. I'm sorry, it's extremely rude of me to have an Apple bag sitting on this desk and not show you guys what it is yet. So these right here are the Beats Studio Buds Plus, and this is the transparent colorway. So as soon as I saw these, I knew I had to pick them up. One, because it'd be awesome for content, which that's where my mind always goes. And then number two, look at this here. Let me take this off. Like, look at that. Look how sick those are. That transparent color. It's giving me 90s tech vibes. If you guys remember like the N64 controllers that were see-through, Game Boy colors, all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually going to be filming a vertical video on these here in a minute. And I guess I'll show you guys that process. All right, so I actually decided to pop this microphone off. So now I'm just using the internal microphone on the Sony ZV-E1, which is actually, I think, a really big bonus for me. I remember when I first tested it out at Sony Camera Camp, I thought it was decent, but I definitely want to test it out a little bit more, because if you could get away with having an external microphone at least sometimes, that's a huge win for me. And actually another really cool thing about the microphone in this camera is that it has a 360 directional internal mic. And apparently with AI technology, it knows if it should be focusing on someone in front of the camera or if someone is behind the camera. And I think they just do that by seeing that if they see a face, the microphone should be pointing towards me. And then let's say I were to flip around the camera and give you guys some POV like this, the microphone should flip around and know that I am talking behind the camera because there's no face in front of the camera, which is actually a really cool thing that I think Sony thought of, because we all know how many people, you know, that are vlogging or doing day in the life content or whatever, right, are talking behind the camera and doing kind of POV. And if you are a creator or you are someone who has vlogged before or whatever, you know what I'm talking about back when the Rode microphones were what everybody used. If you're doing a POV shot, people would literally flip the microphone around so it looked like the mic was sticking off the back of the camera. So the fact that this camera is thinking about that is actually really cool. Is it ever gonna sound as good as like this microphone or big Rode microphone? Probably not, but if this is a run and gun camera, maybe that's enough. Now I wanna do a quick little audio test for myself and also for you guys if you're interested in this camera. I wanna test the internal microphone against the ECM, what is this, the B10, directly back and forth. This is a microphone test with the ZV-E1 with the internal microphone. It sounds like this. I don't have anything set up, it's just auto settings. Then we'll throw this microphone on there. And then now this clip is with the Sony ECM. What's the name of it? The Sony ECM B1M microphone. So this is, in my opinion, like probably the best microphone you can get for Sony cameras, just because it's so easy to use. You don't even need a cord to go into the camera. So this is kind of the side by side. Let me know down in the comments below how it kind of compares. An internal microphone is never going to sound as good as an external microphone, but if the internal microphone is good enough for at least some situations or maybe to vlog, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Let me know. Hi, girl. Everyone say hi to Mocha. She's the queen around here and she knows it. I'll leave you alone now. All right, so I'm actually getting ready to film a little vertical video right there. This is kind of backwards. I usually have these cameras switched. Obviously have the product I'm talking about right here. I have my quick little bullet point script that I wrote out of what I'm gonna kind of follow. Those are sick photos of my new tattoo. And then the camera setup, again, I'd go over this more in depth in the last video, and this camera body is really meant to be the one that I'm filming on right now, the ZVE1. But for the sake of this video, because you know, I'm trying to film on this and whatever, I just have the FX3 there. So the FX3, the 20mm Sony microphone, got my big aperture 120D right there. So let's do it. These might be the coolest pair of headphones I have ever seen. All right, so we just shot basically the A roll of that vertical piece, which is just, you know, all the talking points, all that kind of stuff. Pretty quick, simple. Honestly, like filming this type of content because it just happens so quick. So I'm cutting up my A roll. I kind of know the pacing and everything like that. Obviously, I got to use my vertical overlay pack, link down in the description below. But now that the A roll is done and cut up, I kind of know how much B-roll I need. So now I'm going to film some B-roll of these beats. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you all the B-roll on the Sony ZVE1. And then I'll show you guys kind of the final product of what the video looks like once I add B-roll, okay? So be right back. These might be the coolest headphones I have ever seen. These are the Beats Studio Buds Plus, and obviously the transparent colorway. It's giving me 90s tech vibes, the N64 controllers, the Apple displays, even Game Boys. I personally think it's so sick that's making a comeback, and I love that these are transparent. Now let's talk about the actual performance of these. They have improved noise canceling, better microphones, and honestly, the sound is pretty great too. No lie, I'm a huge AirPods user, and I would compare these pretty closely to the AirPods Pro 2, which is probably the best AirPods out right now, but almost $100 cheaper. Now I think these are sick, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you a fan of the transparent look or not? All right, so edited that video, just uploaded it to, let's see, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. It's just the name of the game in the content world right now. It's like whenever you finish a piece of content, you have to post it like 27 places. So got all that done, but now it's time to take Mocha for a nice walk. I think it's really nice outside. And then also I'm gonna get a quick workout in too. Hey Mocha, you wanna go outside, girl? Okay, come on, let's go. All right, so I'm now on the internal microphone. I got the 20mm on the ZVE1 here. Walking Mocha, obviously. Mocha, say what's up. She's like, why are you walking slow? And this is kind of accidentally turning into a headphone review of these as well, but have these on transparency mode outside so I can hear what's going on in the city. But yeah, so far, I'm actually digging these headphones a lot. I was wondering how different they would sound from the AirPods Generation 2, but honestly, sound pretty similar. I can tell they don't have quite as many features, but they're still really impressive. And honestly, they're at a good price point. Like, cause I know AirPods, right, are water resistant or whatever, but still when I sweat in them, I get a little nervous about them. So these lower price point might be a great pickup. Honestly, this should be a pretty good test for this internal microphone too. Cause honestly, aside from shooting just vertical content with this camera, like right now, this setup would be ideal. Like, if I just wanted the most minimal, high quality vlog setup that I could get. So it's literally just the internal microphone, the 20mm, the 1.8 on there. This combo is so small, lightweight, and if I don't have to have an external microphone on top, if this sounds decent, this is gonna be huge for a lot of creators. So I guess we'll see once I start editing this thing, but nice little walk with Mocha. It is a good day, can't complain. All right, little pre-workout stack here. Today I'm going with the Turtle Ooze flavor for pump. Then I'm stacking it with Ghost Size. This is the lime flavor. So this is like our creatine product. Gonna mix these two up, head off to the gym, and catch up with you guys after. All right, so quick shout out to my Anaka fam for hooking it up. I got some of their latest collection. We got a few pairs of shorts in here, some tees, fire. This one is probably my favorite, fire. The shorts. There's even more stuff in here, but huge shout out to the Anaka boys. Always keeping me strapped. Listen, I'm gonna be editing tonight, okay? I don't even wanna hear it. So a couple quick things I might as well throw in this vlog. Number one, these right here. I picked up the olive Travies, which are absolutely gorgeous. Easily one of my favorite colorways out of these, and as you can tell, they're actually a little bit dirty because we wear our shoes around here. So I figured I'd update the channel because these are heat and you are going to be seeing a lot of these in the future. Love those. Secondly, I just got a giant tattoo. I can't really show you guys right now. It's literally like, yeah, I got pants on right now, but it's literally the entire length of the side of my leg there, but it is a giant pirate ship. So it's cool, you know, I don't really go way too in depth a lot of times talking about my tattoos. Now, a video that has been highly requested is a tattoo tour. I'm toying with the idea. I'm trying to kind of think exactly how I would do that. So let me know down in the comments below if that's something you guys would be interested in watching from me. But it is a cool idea, so I'm thinking about it. But it's funny because whenever I do something now, I always have to kind of think about, do I want to get content out of this? And then the question after that is, if the answer is yes, okay, what type of content? Do I want to get horizontal video for YouTube? Do I want to get vertical video for all my socials? Do I want to get photos? Last tattoo, I did a vertical video. This tattoo I actually took my Leica Q2, which I have been using a good amount here lately, and it's gorgeous. I mean, I love this camera. I'm solely using it for stills, but I mean, I'll tell you what, I love my FX3. I love my Sony ZVE1, but there is truly something out of the images out of this Leica. The detail is unbelievable. The amount of dynamic range that you see in the photos, all the details in the shadows, all the details in the highlights. The photos turned out really, really cool. Oh yeah, and the tattoo turned out pretty cool too. All right, so some of my thoughts on this Sony ZVE1, because that's really what the core of this video is all about. I've been using it now for the past week. I've been filming this entire video vlogging with it. So here's some of my thoughts. Literally the first thing that comes to mind to me is just the amount of quality that you get out of this camera in such a small package. Now, I'm well aware that the sensor inside this camera is basically the same exact one as the Sony a7S III, but even in my head, I guess I was still a little skeptical of like, you know, am I gonna get the same quality out of it as my FX3, which is also that same sensor? And the answer is yes. It looks really good, so I don't even have to worry about that. I'm still shooting an S-Log3, I'm still using my LUTS, link down in the description. So quality, awesome. Another great thing is the internal microphone, as I've mentioned throughout this video. Now, I have a very high standard for the quality of everything that I do and what that must be, right? For a lot of people, I think the internal microphone might be the only mic you need. I myself obviously am walking around vlogging with like a $6,000 camera setup, so my expectations are very high. I actually think this internal microphone is probably enough for most people out there. And again, with the cool AI, how it knows if you're behind it, in front of it, that's a really cool feature. And again, if I just want something that is a small profile, I can take this on the go and I don't need an external mic. My buddy Lo, he actually snuck this camera into a Lakers game because that's how small it is. They didn't realize it was like a DSLR or a big mirrorless camera. So it's small, it's minimal. Now, I got this camera mostly for vertical video use, which when I've been using it, I absolutely love it. But I also think this is going to be a really good option for people that are just vlogging. Now, one thing that I know people are a little hesitant on about this camera, and probably the only downside of it, is going to be the overheating. Now, I myself have been using this all day long. I've been using it obviously for only bursts of shooting, a few minutes at a time at most, but a lot of those were back to back. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the back of the camera did get hot, but I never once saw a warning about heating. It never once overheated. So the way that I plan to use this camera, I don't think it's ever gonna overheat, especially if I'm just doing vertical content or vlogging. Now, if I was sitting down shooting interviews for hours at a time, or maybe you were doing weddings, or maybe you were looking for like a camera for doing podcasts and stuff like that, I can't exactly say for sure. I'm sure there's other videos out there that are a little bit more in depth on the testing of the overheating of this camera, but I'm just using it how I would actually use it. And to me, I think if you're vlogging and shooting in bursts and not sitting down shooting for hours straight at a time, you're gonna be totally fine with this. And something to keep in mind when you're comparing cameras here, this camera obviously comes in at $2,200, which I actually think is a really good price. A lot of people are comparing this camera to the Sony a7 IV, which is $2,500. So a lot of people are arguing, well, if you're paying $22 for the ZVE1, why not just bump it up to that? But that's not really a good comparison. I would compare this camera closer to the a7S III, again, because that is the same sensor. It's two very different cameras. You're getting that 12 megapixel sensor for the performance in low lights and all the capability that the a7S III has. There's so many different camera options out there, but I would just keep that in mind when you're comparing them. Now, the only thing I really haven't talked much about with this camera is all the AI features, such as like the auto reframing, etc. Although I think they are really cool and they could be beneficial, I honestly just don't see myself using it way too much, at least in the way that I intend to use this camera. But if you are interested in picking this up, again, I definitely recommend you to do some more research. The AI stuff is getting pretty crazy, and I think it actually would be beneficial for a lot of people. But just the way I intend to use this camera, I don't really think I'm going to use those features too much. And this is a true real day in the life of me using this camera. So I'm using it just how I would actually use it. All right, so finishing off my night here for a nice relaxing evening of editing. I'm probably gonna start on this vlog, a couple verticals I gotta work on too. This right here, arguably the main event. Got a little pizza for me, a little pepperoni. They put it under the cheese at this place. I mean, come on now. We're living tonight. And then the Lakers game is about to start over here. And you know what? This is honestly exactly my type of evening. A little pizza, a little editing, and a little NBA. This view honestly never gets old. It still is easily the coolest part about where I live, and again, why I chose to live in this apartment. Waking up and seeing this every single day, every single night, just motivates me so much. But guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Hopefully, if you were interested at all in the Sony ZVE1, you learned a little bit more about it. This was a true, real day in the life of me actually using this camera for everything. Honestly, super happy on this purchase, and I'm definitely gonna be keeping this camera. Guys, that's gonna be it for me in today's video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you want more types of these videos for sure in the future. Go follow me over on Instagram as well, and I will catch you guys in the next video very, very soon. Peace, guys.